think why one would come to a weekend like this can be many, many reasons, depending on your background. If you just have an interest in Buddhism, you've heard about Buddhism and you're curious what it is, and you're keen to explore a way to working with your mind um, that helps you live in a better way. I think this weekend will give you a lot of insight to work with and a lot of very practical kind of um, methods to work with your own mind. So on that level, this weekend is good for a very foundational kind of introduction to Buddhism. If you've already been practicing Buddhism for a while, particularly maybe in a Tibetan Buddhist center, and you're wondering about, what are all these deities, all these statues and images, and sometimes these rituals, what we do, that you don't really, need for your own path, but nevertheless, it is happening. And if you're interested to find out a little bit more about it and how you can maybe meaningfully build a relationship with that, that's very much something we're going to explore during this weekend. Again, in a very practical and contemplative, reflective kind of way as well. This is not going to be a weekend on the history of Tibetan Buddhism or some kind of Tibetology kind of study weekend, but we're going to really keep our focus squarely also on the contemplative, reflective, and the practice side. And then if you're already a full-blown practitioner of Tibetan Buddhism, I think this weekend can help you a lot in, really grounding yourself further in the vast and profound kind of view of this non-dual wisdom tradition that Tibetan Buddhism is. So it depends a lot on who you are, but if you're in one of these three categories, I think you will find something for you and ways to work with your mind. And if you're curious about this, really challenging notion of with our thoughts, we make our world. How is it that we create our own world with our own mind? Because this is at once a very challenging proposition because it puts a lot of responsibility on us, but also a really empowering proposition because that means that if we can learn to work with our mind, we can actually find that happiness and its causes may to an extent already be there, present within our mind, or it may be within reach. We may actually be able to just work with our mind and find happiness within rather than depend on external situations and conditions. So if any of this is of interest to you, then I think this weekend will be a very rich, collaborative, dialogue, exploration of Tibetan Buddhism.